Black Ram 313 back at it again because you know this is therapeutic, man. Back again with another therapy session. The title of this video proper is Shaming Language 101. Shaming language. Shaming language is, for her, the primary mode of attack. It is both offensive and defensive at the same time. Shaming language is used to make an argument or even counter an argument. It is the only weapon in her arsenal that she has personally, and she uses it often. Now, shaming language is used, and shaming language is an attempt to demean you, to embarrass you, but most of all, it is an attempt to control you, to manipulate you, to have you as a utility, to serve, to make you feel bad about yourself, to punish you. And the reason why she uses this tactic, the reason why she uses shaming language is because she is so subjective in her mind. Her inner feelings, the way she feels about herself, is based upon how others see her, how others feel about her. She is concerned heavily about the thoughts of others, even the thoughts of strangers, complete strangers, including strangers online and in social media, whomever she'd meet. She cares a great deal about what others think. So in her solipsistic and narcissistic mind, she believes that men must feel the same way. In fact, she believes that men respond to the same social acceptance or lack thereof as she does. For the female, the lack of social acceptance is a fate worse than anything you can imagine. She must fit in. She must run with the crowd. She must fit in. And she believes that you must feel the same way. But she's not too far off, because simps, who are feminized men, share the same ideology, being programmed from birth and feminized by Western culture. The proverbial "what will the neighbors think" mindset is something that is prevalent in Western culture. The need for social acceptance by all is the world in which she lives in. But it is not ours. In her small brain, fueled by emotions and rationality, she is incapable of being aware that shaming language is of no consequence to a red pillar, to the Ibmore, those who know the truth. It is impossible for her to comprehend that we are impenetrable, unaffected, undamaged by any shaming language used on her behalf. Shaming language that is used only to elicit from us an emotional response, to initiate and enact drama, to cause a stir, a controversy. Because she lives and loves mess. She lives in it, she loves it, she bathes in it. Chaos, disruption, disorder, especially the succubi, who loves to tear down, to cause pain, discomfort of any sort, a truly evil and abominable and demonic creature. Now, their shaming language is always, and I mean always, man, devoid of any reason, logic, and even truthfulness, employing, unbeknownst to her, a myriad of logical fallacies, argumentation that is completely incoherent to those possessing simple common sense and self-esteem in any degree, shape, or form. So then incorrectness and lies and so-called curse words are the tools of her ridiculous argumentation. You notice this is typical to hear adolescents with this type of rebuttals and argumentation. But she is just a child, isn't she? A child of mine. And society says she's never the wrong before her or for her childish ways. A put down is supposed to change the way you think. How weak and how simple. That is only something the simp and that she could succumb to. We live above societal norms and expectations and thoughts and ideas and ways. We are truly, as men in the red pill sector, above the clouds. Now, simps and trolls are also progenitors of this foolish shaming language. Often simps and trolls have no capacity for intellectual discourse. They never are able to come up with a reasonable argument to rebuttal us in any of our statements made on any of our videos in the red pill sector. So the question is, how do we deal with such attempts to shame us? How do we deal with such shaming language? Well, the number one way, the best way, is to ignore them. Someone speaking out of turn, or someone who is mentally ill, or someone who is mentally challenged, is not to be taken seriously. Not to be taken seriously due to their inability to display or have a reasonable argumentation. You don't argue with the foolish, do you? In fact, they come looking for attention, to argue about nonsense, to get a response, to get a reaction. Now, I admit sometimes I enjoy how the guys put these irrational and illogical arguments on blast for all of us to see. Keep doing your thing. But understand that it is an exercise in futility to try to change the majority of blue pillars' minds, to change the mind of the simp. And we definitely not trying to change the minds of the succubus. In fact, argumentation against them should be for entertainment purposes only. Now I have compiled a short list of common shaming language usage. Common shaming language, this includes but is not limited to the following. Number one on my list of shaming language, or types of shaming language that is used, is saying I'm stupid or crazy or weird as a rebuttal to any statements that I've made on this channel. Nothing mentioned about the statements made themselves. It's always attacking the person ad hominem. No explanation on what is stupid or what was said. You'll see in comment sections, this is stupid, this is weird, you're crazy. No rebuttal, no argument, no logical argument, just a statement. And I believe this is because they do not possess the intellectual capacity to even make an argument. Not even knowing what they disagree with or how, ignoring the facts and only eliciting an emotional response. I concede not to such idiocy. Number two, this is one of my favorites. You will see almost every woman saying this about a video that displays her female nature and any man's disdain for it. And that is her main rebuttal when she says, "Who hurt you?" That's a classic. Who hurt you? Now, how many times have you seen that in the comment section? How many times have you seen her say these things? Who hurt you? Assuming now that my points are not from an observation, but from a negative experience, which has nothing to do with the argument itself. See, she can only think and live and see things from the subjective. This is why she is lacking so much in the mental. Whether you are bitter or hurt or angry does not make facts change. But it's beyond her capacity to see such a thing, isn't it? The number 1, 3, and very common, if not the most common, is a statement, "You're gay." Pretty much the most common shaming tactic used by simps. Now, this term is often used when a woman's lack of character and illogic and negligence and bad behavior is discussed or pointed out. Anything that is spoken that can hint at a woman being accountable for anything is meant by using this term. Even though the female and the simp using or making the statement cannot substantiate such a claim, it is an outright lie, has no bearing in the truth. However, this argument is still made, and often makes no sense, has nothing to do with the argument, but they love to say this. Any calling out a woman for her behavior is met with this term. You see why it makes no sense in arguing with such people? Number 4, talking about shaming language, common shaming language used, or common usage of shaming language. Number 4 is Nawalt. Not all women are like that. I'm not the first to make this statement, nor the last. It's not a matter of not all women being like that. It is that it is enough women like that. We speak in generalities. We do so because we cannot make a statement for all of society or all of a group. But we have to speak in general terms. The mind thinks in categories. Not all women are like that. This statement assumes that the speaker does not have common sense like themselves. It's a mere projection of sorts. Of course, there are outliers. Of course, there are exceptions. That goes without saying. It's a plain and silly statement. But if we say, or if I say that a woman would always leave you, and I point to the stat that 51% of all marriages end in divorce, am I being dishonest? Of course not. Because 51% is a majority, by the way. But that's too logical for you, isn't it? Most women will leave you. The numbers say so. Not all women are like that. 51% again is the majority. Enough of them are. Number 5. This is mainstream and universal shaming language. Shaming language that's used by simps to succubus, trolls, beta males, blue pillars alike. Number 5, A. Step up and be a stepdaddy. Society says, yes, be responsible for her children by another man. Step up to the plate. Step up and be a stepdaddy. Number 5B, be a man. And being a man means paying a woman's bills, being responsible for her without expecting anything in return. Number 5C, sacrifice. This is universal shaming language now, used and employed by all Westerners. Sacrifice for any and everything that a woman needs. Sacrifice everything for the female. Change her flat tire. Open doors. Chase down muggers. She need it, you do it. Shaming language. Expectations. Using language as a weapon to get you to be a utility. Number 6. A common or commonly used shaming language tactic or statement. It's 2017, it's 2018, 2019. Therefore, you shouldn't act this way or that way. Supposing now that because the calendar year has changed, so should your morals, your principles, and your standards. That you should change with time. that you should fit in. You should go with the crowd. That something that was wrong yesterday is right today. This is the product of a female and simp mind. Principles are everlasting and eternal and never changing. That's why they're called principles. Simps, the succubus, they know nothing about such things. It is a foreign word to them. Yeah, principle. Number 7, common shaming language used, and I kind of touched on this already, but I want to expound on it a little bit more. In fact, common shaming language used by her a real man, in quotations, a real man does this. A real man does X, Y, Z. A real man does what a real man does. A real man does this. A real man does that. I want a real man. And notice, a real man is, whatever she states a real man is, however, well, anyway, is always what is beneficial to her. A real man means that a male can be used or is used, volunteers to be used for her benefit. A real man is basically a utility, a tool for her provision. This shaming tactic has gone from a real man protects and provides to a real man takes care of her kids by other men. Only a real man does that. Only a real man will take care of kids that aren't his. Only a real man will love a child that isn't his like it's his own. So not only does a real man protect and provide, a real man also takes care of another man's children. A real man. Other examples of a real man includes the following. A real man buys a woman and her friends drinks at the club. That's what a real man does. B, a real man knows how to show a woman a good time without expecting anything in return. Movies, concerts, dinners, spending time, picnics, walks on the lakefront without expecting anything in return. That's what a real man does. C, a real man isn't afraid of commitment. A real man will marry you. A real man will put a ring on it. A real man will be so-called faithful. A real man will be monogamous. A real man is committed. You see how it only benefits her? D, a real man, and only a real man, spends money on a woman, pedestalizes a woman. Only a real man does that. Only a real man works hard to show a woman a good time and impress her. F. Lost my knowledge of the alphabet. Actually, I don't know what letter I'm on now, but I'm just going to keep rolling, keep going with the flow, excuse me. But I think it's E. And this is one of my personal favorites right here. A real man loves JC. And not only does a real man love JC, a real man goes to church. Only a real man loves JC. If you don't love JC, you're not a real man. If you're not going to church, you're not a real man. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that over the years. And F, last and not least, a real man is over 6 feet tall, makes at least 6 figures, and does from A to E on this list. That's a real man. A utility, a pun, a servant, a submissive, a wimp, a lame. That's what a real man is. A vag worshiper. If you're not a vag worshiper, you're gay. You're not a real man. Real men love JC. Real men are tools and utilities. And of course, as red pillars, we reject such thoughts and ideas as being utter nonsense and foolishness. Like the video, subscribe, hit the notification button, comment in the comment section, and if you'd like to do so, link to the PayPal account is in the description box if you'd like to donate. Until next time, stay well and stay red pill. Black Ram 313 out.